In a quiet town where it rained almost every evening, there was a narrow little street filled with tiny shops. At the very end stood an umbrella repair shop. Its owner was an elderly man named Swaminathan. From morning till late night, he sat patiently stitching torn umbrellas. His grandson Arul often felt embarrassed about the shop. While his classmates spent their time hanging out with each other, Arul was busy drying wet umbrellas. One day, during heavy rain, a few boys passed by the shop. Who even does this nowadays? Why don't you come hang out with us? They asked. Arul forced a smile and politely refused. That night, while helping his grandfather, he asked, Tata, don't you get tired doing this every day? Swaminathan smiled gently. When rain comes, people don't look for comfort, Arul. They look for someone who can help them continue. A few days later, the town was hit by the worst storm in years. Strong winds turned umbrellas inside out. People rushed desperately through the rain, and soon the tiny umbrella shop became crowded. Teachers arrived carrying broken umbrellas. Hospital staff waited anxiously. Without taking rest, Swaminathan continued repairing umbrella after umbrella. His fingers trembled from exhaustion. His clothes were soaked, but he never stopped working. Arul watched silently. Late into the night, a nurse held her repaired umbrella tightly. If this wasn't fixed tonight, I wouldn't be able to reach the hospital, she said. A delivery worker smiled gratefully. This umbrella will help feed my family, Anna. For the first time, Arul understood. His grandfather was not simply fixing umbrellas, he was helping people move forward through the storm. Outside, rain fell endlessly across the town, but inside that tiny shop, suffering became a little lighter for whoever entered. Near midnight, Arul looked at his grandfather with new respect. You never cared about comfort, did you? He asked softly. Swaminathan smiled while continuing his work. When our work can reduce someone else's hardship, that itself becomes happiness. Outside, the rain slowly began to soften, and inside the little umbrella shop, the lantern continued glowing warmly through the night. இன்பம் விழையான் வினை விழைவான் தன் கேளிர் துன்பம் துடை தூன்றும் தூண். True greatness is found in doing your work well to ease the burden of others. The 6 a.m. bus from Pudukottai to Trichy pulled out of the bus stand just as the sun began to rise. The engine hummed softly. Rain from the night before still glistened on the roads. Ravi, a college student, settled into a window seat near the back. He loved bus journeys, not because of the destination, but because of the people. As the bus rolled through villages, he watched the world wake up. At the first stop, a young mother boarded with a small child. The child was restless and sleepy. The mother gently sang a lullaby and smiled patiently. Though she looked tired, her face was full of love. A few villages later, an elderly farmer climbed aboard. He carried a cloth bag filled with vegetables. He sat quietly and stared out at the paddy fields. There was a sadness in his eyes. Ravi wondered what burden he carried. Near Vellanur, a young woman received a phone call. The moment she answered, her face lit up. Her eyes sparkled. A smile spread across her face. Good news, Ravi thought. At the next stop, a man in formal clothes boarded. He kept checking his watch. His fingers tapped nervously against the seat. His face revealed worry before he spoke a single word. The bus continued its journey. Rain tapped softly against the windows. Tea stalls, temple towers, and green fields drifted by. Ravi realized something. He knew nothing about these people, yet their faces had already told him so much. Love, worry, joy, sadness, hope. As the bus entered Trichy, Ravi saw a Thirukkural printed at the rear of the bus. அடுத்தது காட்டும் பளிங்கு போல் நெஞ்சம் கடுத்தது காட்டும் முகம். Just as a crystal reflects what is placed before it, a person's face reveals what is hidden in the heart. Looking around the bus one last time, Ravi smiled. Sometimes the face speaks long before words do. It was a rainy afternoon. Under a large banyan tree near the village market, an old cobbler named Muttu repaired shoes. Business had been slow all day. Rain poured from the dark clouds above. Muttu had only a small tarpaulin sheet stretched over his work area to keep himself dry. As he worked, he noticed a young schoolboy standing nearby, drenched from head to toe. Without hesitation, Muttu called out, "Come here, son. Stay out of the rain." The boy gratefully stepped under the shelter. A few minutes later, an elderly woman struggling with her basket came by. Muttu moved his tools aside. "Amma, there's room for you too." Soon, a fruit seller joined them, then a traveler. The tiny shelter became crowded. Everyone squeezed together while the rain continued to fall. Someone shared peanuts, another shared stories. Laughter filled the little space beneath the tarpaulin. When the rain finally stopped, the travelers thanked Muttu and went on their way. That evening, as Muttu packed up his tools, the schoolboy came back with his father. He brought several pairs of shoes to repair. By the next week, many villagers chose Muttu whenever they needed their shoes fixed, not because he was the cheapest, but because they remembered his kindness. Muttu had shared the little shelter he owned, and somehow his small act of generosity brought him more than he had given. காக்கை கரவா கரைந்துண்ணும் ஆக்கமும் அன்ன நீரார்க்கே உள. Like a crow that calls others before eating, prosperity belongs to those who share what they have with others. Rain drummed softly against the windows of a slow-moving train. Outside, the world was painted in shades of grey and green. Inside sat an elderly couple, Raman and Lakshmi. They had been married for many years. Across the aisle, a young college boy who watched them curiously. As the train rolled through the rain, Lakshmi looked out the window. I forgot my umbrella again, she laughed. Raman smiled. You've been forgetting umbrellas for 30 years. Lakshmi laughed too. And you've been carrying an extra one for 30 years. The young boy listened carefully. He expected them to argue. Instead, they laughed together. A few minutes later, a tea vendor arrived. Raman bought one cup of tea. The boy wondered why. Then Raman handed it to Lakshmi. What about you? She asked. I'll share yours, he replied. They sat quietly, sharing the tea while watching the rain, not because they had to, but because they enjoyed being together. Unable to contain his curiosity, the young boy finally asked, Grandpa, how have you stayed happy together for so long? Raman looked at Lakshmi and smiled. Then he said, She is not just my wife, she is my best friend. Lakshmi nodded, and he is mine. The boy thought about those words as the rain continued to fall. அன்பு ஈனும் ஆர்வம் உடைமை அது ஈனும் நண்பென்னும் நாடா சிறப்பு. Love creates affection, and affection grows into the priceless treasure called friendship. The happiest relationships are not built only on love, they are built on friendship that grows stronger with every passing year.